Alright, I made it back from the walk. Forgive me, I can't speak. My fake teeth don't fit my mouth properly. But, let's see. I made it back from my hike. I look like hell. I'm getting old. That's really sad. But I had to go on a hike to buy these because I'm addicted. Eventually I'll be able to just receive them in the mail and not this brand. But I'll probably be using nicotine for the rest of my life. I'm just so glad I'm not smoking anymore or vaping. So, in tiers of nicotine safety, the gold standard is just not using nicotine. But my nervous system developed on nicotine. I was a heavy smoker on my 18th birthday. I was smoking before I was 18, because I hung out with some fucking losers after I dropped out of high school, and they were all the losers I hung out with were smoking. So, basically having an abusive family that didn't support me to perform academically caused me to become a smoker, and so it's probably I'll have to use it for the rest of my life because my brain is wired. It's like if you're like a child that gets hooked on addictive drugs at an early age. I don't think you can fix that. I think you'll always be craving that drug, whatever it is. And so I'm just so grateful I never tried anything serious, or I never got hooked on anything serious. But there's nothing wrong with nicotine. I mean, I would like to be nicotine free. I'd like to be caffeine free. But I don't. I'll talk more about nicotine in the future. It does seem to help me. And caffeine too. Especially with the pain and with thinking. I'm gonna put some in right now because I just can't think. I was gonna make this video for a reason. So I just did a hike. I walked 0.2 miles from my hotel to the gas station to buy this, and then 0.2 miles back in the dark. And now my whole body's inflamed, and I'm just in extreme pain, and I'm gonna have to recover for the rest of the day. Laying in bed because I walked less than half a mile. So, which is basically about the same amount of walking I would do to shop in a Walmart, to do a loop through a Walmart store. So now do you understand? I can't be shopping at Walmart all the time. I can't be walking all the time. I'm just too heavy. And that's another thing. When you're this heavy, I'm 300 pounds. When you walk, I probably lost some weight with the starvation lately, so maybe I'm 290 pounds. But regardless, and I did have strong legs, because anyway, I have injuries, and being this heavy, it's actually not good to exercise like that because my ankle's bothering me like crazy now. My hips bothering me. I'm just really in pain. So exercise like that is, and also, let's see what else. It's just too much. So I'm going to be recovering for the rest of the day. If I was eating ketogenic diet and I was taking some peptides to lower inflammation and some other medications to lower inflammation, I'd feel a lot better and more functional right now. But I don't have anything. This not owning a car and living in hotels bullshit is really crazy. It's not what I chose for myself. I chose to work in IT and cybersecurity, and invest in Bitcoin, and invest in different entrepreneurial things, and build a career and live like a yuppie. That's the culture I identify as. So, like, if there's different cultures in the United States and in the world, and you got to figure out which one you identify as. And I've always identified as a yuppie. I mean, I know it's a derogatory term, but like a young, educated, urban professional who lives in expensive apartments and drives luxury sports cars like BMW, Lexus. In my case, I don't buy BMW, but that's just who I am. That's what I identify as a yuppie. So, like I've never, I'm working in an office in like a nice building at like a tech company or some kind of company. Um, I've never even owned a suit. I come from trailer trash, and I didn't realize it's because when you're surrounded by, like, in retrospect, I think my mother was like actual trailer trash, and then my father's British trailer trash. I realized, or no, I learned in jail. There's a term. It's called. I'm not trying to be insulting. This is just how I see them. What's that? Hillbillies. Okay, so when I was in jail, I saw this movie called The Beverly Hillbillies, and the whole time I was thinking, this character and this culture of people kind of reminds me of the people I come from. They're just a little bit out of place. So if you get a chance to watch the movie, it's hilarious. It's called The Beverly Hillbillies. It's about these hillbillies from Appalachia moving to Beverly Hills. And it's like, I can kind of relate to that. I mean, obviously it's a caricature, but like, I feel like my father, there were so many things growing up where it's like, wow, there was like a hillbilly way of doing something, and then there was like the correct way of doing something, and he always wanted to do things the hillbilly way. And like, I remember that's why, because it seemed like we were poor, like 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 just extreme cheapassery, like beyond what would be considered normal. And maybe we were poor, but I mean, I don't remember my father ever talking about money or learning about money or investing or anything. But he loves drive. He loves his luxury cars and his McMansions on golf courses. So it doesn't make any sense. So I realized Beverly Hillbilly is what I'm dealing with here. So, but then there's also the socialist aspect. Both my parents are Bernie Sanders. Kill the successful and take their stuff. And then my father's also what's called. I don't want to be disrespectful to my father, as I read the Bible in jail, and you're supposed to respect your father. But I don't think he'd find it disrespectful if I just called him out for what he is. At least it appears like he likes to let the woman run the house, and 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 make the economic decisions for the family. And so I think it causes an unhappy marriage, because like women don't want to be the man, at least I mean, maybe some of them do, but I mean, typically I don't think they want to do that. And they want to be the woman in the relationship. But growing up, it seemed like my mother was my father, and my father was like a second mother or something. Or not even a mother, not even a father. So it seemed like I grew up with a single mom, and then like, this is just from my perspective. But it seemed like I grew up I was raised by a single mom who had like a best friend, a male best friend that lived in the house. It's like so, which is very strange. So, how do we get on this topic? Oh yeah, so my legs are on fire, my brain's on fire. I have an asymmetrical wrinkle on my forehead. Look, it's not centered. What the hell? Like, why is it not like? one of the markers of an attractive human is facial symmetry. And for whatever reason, like, it's off center. So I hate wrinkles. So I can't wait to get on peptides. I want to age backwards, but Brian Johnson wants to be 18 again. He wants to. I think that's too young. I think you should want to be like 25 for the rest of your life. Like, that's where you're like peak. That's where nothing has declined yet, and your peak development is like 25 years old. So I just learned that Bruce Lee died when he was 32. And I've also been studying people. I love to study people on the internet. I've been bedridden, disabled for years. I love to read about, because I don't have the attention span to read books on the computer, which I'm going to solve my reading problem too, by the way. I just need to buy an ebook reader and get my digital library sorted with Calibre ebook software. I just downloaded another several gigabytes of EPUB ebooks. That's the best format for ebooks. I don't believe in buying DRM ebooks. So, and I hate the way Amazon does the Kindle and the DRM and everything. So there's a company called Kobo that makes the best ebook readers, handheld ebook readers. And I can't stand reading ebooks on a computer screen. But yeah, so I hope I can fix that wrinkle. I just can't believe how bad it's getting. But I'm gonna have to get a facelift. So here's the surgeries. Okay, I'm just gonna declare in this video right now. I'm gonna be unrecognizable if I'm allowed to get to where I need to go. And people are going to have to let me, because there's no other option. I've basically created a scenario where there's no other option but to get to where I need to go. I mean, I guess technically, yeah, my crazy mother or my crazy father could find some way to, use the government against me or silence me, permanently. So if I stop posting here, that just means I can't physically post here. Because I'm going to keep posting here as like a insurance policy to make sure, if something happens to me, at least someone later can go back and see what happened, because I do feel like my life is in danger by the people that are supporting me to survive. I feel like they're mentally ill, and there's some games and conspiracy going on behind the scenes, and people are trying to find a way to use lawfare against me, or to you have to understand the thing about mentally ill people, like the people I come from, like they have no reservations about doing evil, and like, you hear stories, you can investigate this, but like, there have been cases in the past of mothers poisoning their children, mothers putting caffeine in their children's bedtime beverage, so they can't sleep, and then so they can't do well in school. It's just sabotaging their children covertly and poisoning them, and so that's sociopathy, psychopathy, and it's much more prevalent than people realize. And I am certain that my parents suffer from this affliction. I consider it a mental illness. They wouldn't think it's mental illness, but they just think they're better than everybody. But like the lizard people, the reptilians. Like, I've watched reptilians in action. When I was in jail, I interacted with a lot of sociopaths, and they're like basically lizard brains, really. So, but. I'm hoping I'll be allowed to just go back on a truck, and I can, just not talk to any of my abusers ever again, my abusive, hateful family. But they don't seem to be supporting me to do that, and they're playing some kind of game with me here, where I'm just like disabled in a hotel room starving, so for like months now. So at tremendous cost. I mean, it's $2,000 a month, I think, just to put me in this hotel. So I mean, I could have used that money. That's like a nice apartment. $2,000 a month. That's a really nice apartment in Oklahoma. That's like a really, really nice apartment. That's like a mortgage. So I don't know what the game is here, what the plans are, but I think there are some evil plans going on behind the scenes of how to get rid of me permanently, and I think they were trying to see if I would commit suicide. I'm surprised no one left a gun here for me. I'm not allowed to own guns legally, not because I'm not a felon, but I have a false restraining order on me that I should have fought, but I didn't, and now I'm if you run my license, you'll probably see that I have a bunch of scary language on my background check. So I might have trouble getting employed because of the scary false restraining order I have on me. But I can't believe that. I can't believe I just did 7 months in jail. That's crazy. Like, I can't believe my family, the people I depend on for my support while disabled, put me in there. That's crazy. So I do feel like my life is in danger, and I'm praying to God that it's outside of my control what happens to me. I just wish I had control of my life. So my personality type is INTJ, which is very rare apparently, and people like me, we suffer tremendously. We have higher capacity for suffering, intellectual suffering, when we don't control our lives and our destiny and stuff. And I think the narcissists, my abusers, know that, and they're clever and calculated with their abuse. So, but yeah, hopefully I'll be allowed to go back on a truck. So I just want to declare in this video that if I am able to go back on a truck, here's what will happen. If I go back on a truck in the correct way, not the wrong way like I did last time. If I could just get back to what I had at not my last employer, but my employer before that, or actually my employer before that. I drove for Prime, okay? Prime Trucking is it was at the time, the best trucking company to drive for in the country. And I was very sick when I drove for them. And then and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to live in a truck long term, because I'm just and I was very sick with gadolinium poisoning. So I was very low performing. But if only I had known what I know now, I could have stayed at Prime, and I could have been cooking real food in the truck. I just didn't know about the Instant Pot and the gadolinium chelation. Those are the two things I didn't understand. If I could just go back like 3 years and get gadolinium chelation and buy an Instant Pot so I can cook on the truck, who knows where I'd be now. I notice I touch my face in these videos. I do weird things with my hands on my head and stuff. It's because I have pressure in my head, and it feels like my head's gonna explode. And if I put pressure on my skull, it like relieves the pain temporarily. And that's gadolinium too. I never had that before, gadolinium. But so I'm not like I don't have like a movement disorder or something. It's like I feel like I have pressure in my head, and if I put pressure on it, it feels good. It's not like a tick or a nervous tick or something. But what else was I gonna say? Yeah, so if I'm able to go back on a truck, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna lose weight, over 100 pounds of body fat, get down to skin and bones, and really low body fat percentage, and then I'm gonna save a ton of money, and then I'm going to once I reach a certain financial target, which is gonna take several years probably. Then I'm going to go to Thailand. And I'm going to live in Thailand for 6 months and get surgery like a facelift, and but I don't know the correct term, but like remove all the loose skin because I'm gonna have very loose skin. I'm gonna have like 20 or 30 pounds, probably like 20 or 30 pounds of skin I need to remove from my body. Because when you lose weight, it actually doesn't. The fat cells don't go away; they just shrink. So you still have the extra skin and the extra fat cells. So it's like extra, just carrying around extra mass, and it's ugly. Aesthetically, it's ugly, and it's just not good. So basically, I'm gonna get my body to the way as best I can with cheap, low cost surgery. I'm gonna get myself like skinny, unrecognizable. I won't be recognizable. I'm also gonna get a nose job. My nose is fucked up, and eventually a whole mouth reconstruction and jaw surgery. Let's see what else. Gyno surgery because I have female breast tissue from the hormone disruption on because of the psychiatric drugs I was poisoned with as a child. So they disrupted my puberty. So I'm gonna have like 5 or 6 different surgeries. Probably not all at once, or on the same visit, but I'm gonna get most of those, if not all of those, in Thailand, because Thailand's known around the world for, excellent medical care, for medical tourism, much safer and cleaner than anywhere else in the developing world. Thailand's kind of a unique country. People in the West just think of like lady boys. That's not what Thailand is known for. Thailand's a very unique place. It's a Buddhist country. I'd actually say it's more similar to Japan or Korea than anything else. But it's its own thing. It's its own culture. It's a very fascinating country, and I've always wanted to go. Ever since I learned about it many years ago. But not because of the ladyboy thing. But it's very safe, and it's very cheap, very low cost. So I could live there for 6 months on like, maybe $1,500 a month or something. I could live very well, and eating carnivore and everything. And so I'm gonna scout out Thailand. Thailand's gonna change my life, and I'll be able to, rent an apartment for 6 months there, and then I'll come back and I'll do more trucking, and then I'll go back to Thailand again, and I'll come back and I'll do more trucking, and then I'll go back to Thailand again. And I'll just keep doing this cycle until I've gotten all this medical care and surgeries that I need to get my body ready for bodybuilding or muscle building. And this is after I've done chelation. I'll be doing chelation, gadolinium chelation, long before I go to Thailand. So hopefully I won't be sick anymore from gadolinium at this point. But get my teeth fixed, get everything fixed, get my body as healthy with and fixed as much as possible. So I'll be a new man, and then basically from that point forward, when I get back to basically I'm going to keep doing trucking until I've reached a financial goal where I can afford to pay cash for a very nice car, to pay cash for a very nice to furnish a home for me, and have an emergency fund. So basically I can live on basically I can live in my dream city, in my my dream apartment, and have my dream car, and live very well and healthy without any stress, financial stress or anything, and with a healthy, fit body, and survive and make it all work with like a part-time, easy job, like as like a personal trainer or something easy that doesn't pay a lot. And then that way I'm living in my dream city. I don't have any material problems. I don't have any crippling health problems. I look good. I feel good. At that point, the world is mine. And then that'll give me the time and energy I need to pursue academic, uh, pr- my academic goals and my career ambitions outside of, in my field, which is IT and cybersecurity. So I'll be living in, and it's Austin, Texas, in case you're wondering. That's the best city in the country. I decided to move. I decided not to become. I decided Austin was the only city in the country where I belong. So basically, I'll make another video about this in the future. But basically, I studied the entire United States. So I grew up in San Diego, even though we lived in other places as a child. I grew up in San Diego. I identify as a Californian from Southern California, and culturally, I probably have more in common with. I noticed culturally, I have more in common with people from Southern California than from anywhere else in the country. But I share the values of freedom that Texas offers, and then I don't. California is it's a good place. California was an amazing place, and it still is. But I think California's done. I really think California is finished. Like, I would never want to buy real estate in California. I would never want to start a family in California. I think California is a great place to visit, or if you have a professional reason you need to live there. Like, I can understand if if the economics work out, I can understand making the sacrifice to live there. And it's beautiful, right? The beaches and everything. It's a great place, but the government there and the culture is rotten, and it's not going to get any better. So, basically, I realized Austin, Texas. When Joe Rogan decided to move there, and then Elon was investing in Texas, I realized, these guys are onto something. And I think the future of the West is in Texas. Like, I think all the innovation that makes America great, and the future with Tesla and everything, it's all Texas. So I guess my long-term dream is to work at Tesla, or something like that. But so anyway, I realized I can't live in California. California's crazy. It's just too expensive. And then I lived in California. I lived in Irvine. I lived in Orange County. I lived in Sacramento. I lived in the Redwood Forest, and I grew up in San Diego. So, so I'm very familiar with California. I've driven trucks all over California. I've been to San Francisco. Spent a lot of time in Los Angeles. So, I know California is familiar, but I don't think I could build a life there, build a future there. And it's a great place to visit, but it's not a great place to build a life. So I looked at other places to live around the country, and for the longest time I wanted to live in Phoenix, Arizona, Scottsdale, Tempe, Arizona, ASU, around there. And that's a great place. I wanted to live in Las Vegas for a long time. I like the desert. There was a period where I wanted to live in Salt Lake City as well, but you got to be Mormon to live there, and it's just too isolated in Utah. And then Las Vegas is a great place to visit, but you don't want to live in Las Vegas. And then Arizona, I mean, the problem so basically I studied the whole country, especially the West, but also the East and half. Basically, the whole East Coast is fucked. You need to speak Spanish if you live in Miami. So basically, there's looked at every city. I looked at Chicago. I looked at New York. I looked at Atlanta. And I realized each city has its own culture and its own, ups and downs, or positives and negatives, and industry and everything. And the only city that doesn't have a single compromise, besides maybe the weather, would be Austin, Texas. And complaining about the weather, who wants to live in snow? Snow, ice, that's just horrible. So I'm an Austinite, and but I can't just like go move to Austin, you know. Like I have to, be able to, do things intelligently. But yeah, eventually I will live in Austin, Texas, and I want to buy a condo in a really nice building someday. Once I'm working in my field, after my education, formal education, that's just so many years away. It's like a decade away, probably at least. So it's not even worth thinking about. But it's nice to have that long-term vision and to have a North Star. Because for the longest time, I didn't know where I belonged. I really thought for the longest time I was going to somehow build a life for myself, living in Orange County, making like 45,000 a year. Like there's just no way. You need to make 145,000 a year just to be able to rent a place in Orange County. For the longest time, I thought, I could build a life in Sacramento. I could build a life for myself in Las Vegas. I could build a life for myself, in Arizona. There's just no way. So I see this way. If I save money doing the trucking and fix my health and get my lifestyle such that it's very low cost, but also high standard of living, ultra high standard of living. I can just work as like a security guard or something and work my way through school, and and go to school just for fun and not have any economic pressure, because that was why I had to drop out of college 4 times. So it's because of the economic pressure my family was putting on me and just the world was putting on me. So that's why I couldn't focus in high school. It was just too much pressure outside of the course material. Like my life was just too much stress, and the chronic illness and everything was just too much. So I see how to fix my health now. I see how to use trucking to fix my health, fix my finances, and set myself up so I can pursue whatever the heck I want and just have fun with it. And eventually, because I'm the kind of guy I learn best. All the times I did good in school, it was because I was passionate and I enjoyed it. Like when I got into a really good class, like I really loved this one professor I had. Like I really enjoyed it. And when it stopped being fun because my life was getting out of control, that's when I had to drop out, because I realized like this is just too painful. So that's a long-term plan. So basically, I'm gonna fix my health. I'm gonna recover from all these diseases, chronic illness, and everything, and I'm gonna become who I should have been, or I'm gonna die trying, because life's not worth living otherwise. But that's my goal, and I have very specific documents and I have lists, and I've gotten very specific. I've crunched all the numbers and the math. Everything checks out. It's just gonna take a long time. So. But yeah, and once I get healthy and fit and lean, healthy, and recovered from all these illnesses, that knowledge that I learned along the way is going to be so valuable to others. So I'll be able to share my knowledge with people and charge money for that, and help others along the way. So I'll do that as well, and because I'm going to have to become an expert at health and wellness and chronic illness recovery and health, these sorts of things, and fitness as well. And so the things I learned along the way are going to be very valuable for others in a similar situation. And it'll be trivial to put this knowledge out onto the internet and share it with others, and do consulting of some kinds or coaching of some kinds, and monetize that knowledge and expertise that I develop. So, and that's not even a passion of mine, really. I mean, my passion is computers and technology, but I was kind of forced into becoming an expert at health and wellness and weight loss and all these things, and because out of necessity, out of survival. So. But it is important, and I thought about something earlier that I wanted to mention here before I turn this off. If you're still listening, God bless you. What was it? Yeah, when you're young and healthy, you don't care too much about health and wellness. but eventually you will care. Everybody will. There's Everybody will eventually care about health and wellness. It's just, do you want to start caring about it now, or do you want to wait and start caring about it later? The sooner you start caring about it, the less costly it's going to be. It's a lot easier to stay healthy than it is to recover from sickness after you've destroyed your health. But yeah, everybody gets sick. Everybody dies. Everybody dies from either being sick or being injured. And if you can prevent getting sick, if you can prevent getting injured, and recover from the injuries you do have, recover from the sickness you do have, then you'll live another day, and that's what we're going for. Just keep living another day, and it's a bright future, amazing future for those who are going to be around to see it.